7 Iraqi banks have just received official clearance, and while that may sound like just another banking headline, many investors believe it could signal something much bigger for Iraq's financial future. But what does this development actually mean? Is it simply another step in Iraq's banking reforms, or could it represent meaningful progress toward a stronger and more modern financial system? Welcome back! If you've been following developments surrounding the Iraqi dinar, you already know that some of the most important changes don't arrive with dramatic announcements. Instead, they happen quietly, one reform at a time. And that's exactly why today's update deserves your attention. In this video, we'll break down what has officially happened, why these 7 banks were cleared, how this fits into Iraq's ongoing banking modernization efforts, and what it could mean for investors watching the country's long-term economic progress. We'll separate confirmed facts from speculation, explain why international compliance matters, and explore how these reforms could influence confidence in Iraq's banking sector. So stay with us until the end, because the bigger picture is far more important than the headline itself. Let's start with the facts. According to the latest developments, 7 Iraqi banks have successfully completed the compliance and oversight requirements established by the Central Bank of Iraq. While that may seem like a technical achievement, it represents years of work aimed at strengthening Iraq's financial institutions and bringing them closer to international banking standards. For years, several Iraqi banks faced restrictions related to international compliance, anti-money laundering measures, and oversight connected to U.S. financial authorities. Those restrictions limited their participation in international financial activities and reduced confidence among foreign investors. Now, with 7 banks receiving official clearance, many analysts see this as another sign that Iraq's banking reforms are moving in the right direction. 7 Iraqi banks have officially received clearance, and that single development is getting a lot of attention across the Iraqi dinar community. At first glance, it may sound like an ordinary banking update, but many people are asking a much bigger question. Could this be another important step in Iraq's long-term financial transformation? Welcome back! If you've been following Iraq's banking reforms, you already know that the biggest changes rarely happen overnight. Instead, they unfold through a series of carefully planned reforms, regulatory improvements, and institutional changes that gradually strengthen the country's financial system. Today's update is one of those developments. In this video, we'll explain what has officially happened, why these 7 banks were cleared, how this fits into Iraq's broader banking modernization program, and why many investors are watching these developments so closely. Most importantly, we'll separate confirmed facts from speculation so you can better understand what is known today and what remains uncertain. Let's begin with the confirmed news. 7 Iraqi banks have now successfully completed the compliance and oversight requirements established by the Central Bank of Iraq. While the word cleared may sound simple, within the banking industry, it carries significant importance. Over the past several years, a number of Iraqi banks faced restrictions because they needed to meet stricter international compliance standards. These standards included anti-money laundering requirements, financial transparency measures, and regulatory oversight connected to Iraq's efforts to strengthen its banking relationships with international financial institutions. Those restrictions affected more than just the banks themselves. Limited access to international financial services reduced business confidence, complicated foreign transactions, and slowed Iraq's progress toward deeper integration with the global financial system. Now, after completing the required reforms, these 7 banks have officially moved beyond that stage. This isn't simply another administrative announcement. It represents measurable progress in Iraq's ongoing effort to modernize its banking sector and improve confidence in its financial institutions. To understand why this matters, it's important to look at the bigger picture. Several years ago, the Central Bank of Iraq launched an ambitious reform program designed to strengthen financial oversight, modernize banking operations, improve transparency, and align Iraq's banking system with internationally recognized standards. As part of that process, new compliance procedures were introduced. Electronic payment systems expanded, banking supervision increased, and financial institutions were required to meet much higher operational standards. Banks that could not immediately satisfy those requirements experienced various restrictions while they worked toward compliance. Today, the clearance of these 7 banks suggests that those reforms are producing measurable results. For many economic observers, this demonstrates that Iraq's financial modernization is continuing step by step rather than through sudden policy shifts. This is also one reason many long-term followers of the Iraqi Dinar are paying close attention. Experienced observers often focus less on rumors and more on structural reforms. Instead of expecting dramatic announcements, they watch for developments such as stronger banking regulations, improved compliance, expanded electronic payment systems, and greater cooperation between Iraqi institutions and international financial organizations. Each of these reforms strengthens the overall financial infrastructure of the country. It's important to emphasize, however, that stronger banking reforms should not automatically be interpreted as confirmation of any future exchange rate change. As of today, the Central Bank of Iraq has not announced any Iraqi dinar revaluation, reinstatement, or change to the official exchange rate. What these reforms do indicate is that Iraq continues working toward a more transparent, stable, and internationally connected banking system, an objective that has been publicly discussed for several years. And as we'll see in the next section, these banking clearances could have broader implications for investor confidence, foreign investment, and Iraq's long-term economic development. Now, let's look at why this development is attracting attention beyond Iraq's banking sector. When banks successfully complete compliance reforms, the impact extends far beyond internal operations. Stronger compliance standards improve transparency, reduce financial risk, and make it easier for international institutions to work with Iraqi banks. These improvements can gradually increase confidence among investors, businesses, and global financial partners. Think of Iraq's banking system as the foundation of a building. Before adding new floors, the foundation must be strong enough to support future growth. In the same way, before a country's financial system can fully integrate with international markets, its banks must operate under reliable and internationally accepted standards. That's exactly what Iraq has been working toward. Over the past few years, the Central Bank of Iraq has introduced several initiatives aimed at modernizing the financial sector. These include expanding electronic payment systems, improving regulatory oversight, strengthening anti-money laundering measures, and working with internationally recognized consulting firms to enhance banking operations. Rather than isolated changes, these reforms form part of a broader strategy to make Iraq's financial system more efficient, transparent, and attractive to international investors. For many analysts, the clearance of these 7 banks is another indication that this strategy is moving forward. One of the biggest benefits of stronger compliance is improved confidence from international financial institutions. When banks operate according to recognized global standards, foreign businesses generally find it easier to conduct transactions, establish partnerships, and consider investment opportunities within the country. Lower perceived financial risk can encourage greater participation from international companies that may have previously been cautious. As foreign investment grows over time, economic activity can expand across multiple sectors, not only banking, but also infrastructure, manufacturing, technology, energy, and private business development. Some market observers believe these developments could eventually strengthen confidence in Iraq's economy as a whole. However, it's important to keep expectations realistic. Greater confidence in the banking system does not automatically mean the Iraqi dinar's exchange rate will change in the near future. Exchange rate decisions depend on many economic factors and remain the responsibility of the Central Bank of Iraq. As of today, there has been no official announcement from the Central Bank of Iraq regarding a revaluation, reinstatement, or any adjustment to the official exchange rate. What can be said with confidence is that stronger banking institutions create a healthier financial environment. Countries with transparent banking systems, effective regulations, and stable financial institutions are generally better positioned to attract investment and support long-term economic growth. Another important factor is Iraq's official exchange rate policy. Since the central bank adjusted the official exchange rate in early 2023, the official rate has remained stable at approximately 1,310 Iraqi dinars per US dollar. At the same time, Iraqi authorities have continued implementing reforms designed to reduce the gap between the official rate and the parallel market through stronger regulation, improved compliance, and more efficient currency transactions. The recent clearance of these banks fits naturally within that broader reform effort. Instead of relying on a single dramatic announcement, Iraq appears to be strengthening its financial system step by step. Each successful reform adds another layer of credibility, helping build confidence among domestic businesses, international institutions, and potential investors. This gradual approach may not generate sensational headlines every day, but history shows that lasting financial reforms are usually built through consistent progress rather than sudden changes. And the next part of this story may be even more significant, because banking reforms are only one piece of Iraq's larger economic picture. Oil revenues, government finances, regional partnerships, and international cooperation all play important roles in determining the country's long-term financial outlook.